The entire stock market is correcting. Over the past 5 days, the S&P 500 is in the red, the Nasdaq is in the red, the Dow Jones is in the red, and also small caps, the Russell 2000, are down significantly. This stock market correction, however, was not totally unexpected, considering that over the past couple of months we saw a strong rally, especially a rally of tech stocks, but over the past couple of weeks also small cap stocks have been melting towards the upside quite aggressively. If you have been following some of my analysis on TradingView, also on YouTube, or maybe even inside the free trading community on School, I shared with you all the reasons for which I do expect a correction, which is now happening. Stock market corrections are always extremely good trading opportunities for us as traders because they allow us to scale out of some of our existing positions, build up capital on the sidelines, wait for the correction, and then enter new setups to capitalize on the overall continuation towards the upside. As with every stock market correction we've seen in the entire history, it's also just a matter of time until this correction will be over, and then you as a trader have to find the bottom, catch a reversal, and capitalize and enter positions before we will see the next continuation towards the upside. Spotting these potential reversals of corrections can be quite difficult, especially if you're looking at news, especially if you're looking at indicators or just fundamentals, because those corrections barely represent the underlying fundamental behavior of the entire stock market. Therefore, it's crucial that if you want to properly spot those reversals and therefore the end of the entire correction, you do look at technical analysis. Technical analysis has an actually quite high chance of catching these reversals, and if there are multiple technical setups lining up perfectly, it's quite likely that you will catch the exact reversal point. Although we in the Elite program are still anticipating a little bit more continuation towards the downside, we are already looking for setups which we can then enter once the bottom is in. Again, we are not looking at any underlying fundamentals, we are not looking at any indicators, we are just basically looking at simple technical analysis. This has worked in the past, and we are quite confident that we will also be able to catch this reversal with just looking at technical analysis. Therefore, we also already have a couple of interesting setups on our watch list, which still need all a little more continuation towards the downside, but once we do have our alerts getting hit, then we will immediately look at the charts and enter long continuation setups to capitalize on the overall continuation of the underlying uptrend. The first setup which we are looking to take is an overall long continuation setup on Microsoft. As you can see, over the past couple of years, Microsoft has been in an extremely strong uptrend, and you can see we started creating an even steeper uptrend in the beginning of 2023, and so far Microsoft rallied 110%. Microsoft has been one of the strongest stocks. However, if the entire stock market creates a correction, it's quite likely that also Microsoft will suffer at least a little bit. The setup which we are looking to take in the Elite program is actually pretty simple. First of all, we draw a resistance trend line by just connecting these previous significant highs. The second line which we are then drawing is a support trend line, just connecting these previous significant lows. In this case, you can also see that the resistance trend line and the support trend line combined are forming a rising channel formation. And the third line which I have to draw in order to complete my analysis is a simple horizontal structure connecting the two significant previous swing highs. We already broke it towards the upside, so on a retest, this previous resistance is now acting as support, therefore I drew it in green. The setup which we are now looking to take is a simple rejection away from this previous all-time high, which, as I just mentioned, after the break towards the upside is now turned support, and then we will simply enter longs to capitalize on the overall continuation towards the upside, considering that the underlying trend is towards the upside and Microsoft is also trading in a rising channel formation. This would also perfectly play out with a potential stock market correction, because you can see in order for Microsoft to come back to retest at this previous all-time high, we still need a potential correction of 15% towards the downside, which would perfectly line up with a correction of the Nasdaq, with a correction of the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 before all of these major indices are retesting support levels, and we can then potentially see the continuation towards the upside. The second stock which we are already having on our watch list in the Elite program, and the setup is actually quite similar to the setup on Microsoft, is Google. Also, Google has been in a massive uptrend, especially starting in the beginning of 2023. So far, we saw a rally of plus 120%, and it's quite likely that with an overall stock market correction, we will see some short-term relief on Google. For this analysis, the first thing which you can immediately see is that we do have a massive support trend line just connecting all of these previous significant lows. And the second and already final line which I have to draw is once again a horizontal structure connecting the previous all-time high with this minor rejection right here. It's again drawn in green because Google already broke this previous resistance towards the upside, and on a potential pullback it's now acting as support. What we are looking for is again pretty simple. We do first of all need some little more continuation towards the downside. In this case on Google, it would be another retracement of 11% before we will then see a retest of this previous triangle breakout level. And if we then have some simple bullish confirmation inside of this level on the smaller time frames, we will enter a long position to capitalize on this overall continuation of this uptrend. Again, this would also perfectly play out with a short-term stock market correction, because we do still need some more continuation towards the downside. Before then, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, all of the major indices will retest support, can create a reversal, and therefore also individual stocks can continue the overall uptrend. The third and final setup which I want to share with you today is once again on a tech stock. This time we are looking at advanced micro devices. A couple of months ago, advanced micro devices perfectly broke out of a symmetrical triangle formation, just connecting these two significant highs, and on the other side connecting the two significant lows. It was a bullish continuation pattern, and therefore the bullish breakout was anticipated. Right now we are seeing the correction, although advanced micro devices is already down roughly 40% from the previous all-time high and is actually approaching the relevant structure. We do have a horizontal previous resistance if we just connect those two significant highs, which again I have to draw in green because advanced micro devices already broke out towards the upside. And on a potential retest, this previous resistance would now be acting as support. What we are now looking for in the elite program is first of all a little more continuation towards the downside on advanced micro devices before it will then retest this massive previous resistance, which is now acting as support. Again, we 100% need bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames inside of this level, and then we will most likely enter a long position to capitalize once again on this overall continuation towards the upside. As you can see with these three setups, Microsoft, advanced micro devices on Google, I am overall bullish on the entire stock market despite the current correction. It's just a matter of time until this correction will be over, and then you just need sufficient capital on the sidelines waiting to be invested, waiting to be deposited into your trading account before you can then go ahead, enter some of these positions which I just shared with you, and ride the next wave towards the upside. Of course, if this correction ends now and we will not see more continuation towards the downside, then basically all three of these setups will be absolutely invalidated, and there is no way you can then still try to capitalize on these setups. However, the stock market is still a little bit overextended, and therefore I think it's quite likely, and I'm also trading accordingly to my intuition and also to technicals. I do expect a little more continuation towards the downside, so do not freak out if over the next couple of weeks the Nasdaq will still drop another 10%, because if you're looking at the overall long-term picture, this will just be a clear buying opportunity for the next major bull run. Again, please do not look at any indicators, do not look at any fundamentals or any news. You will not be able to catch a reversal by just looking at these external factors. The chart tells you everything which you need to know in order to trade accordingly, and just trading based off technicals is simply the way to go. If you like my way of analyzing charts and just trading basically based off support and resistance and market structure and only based off technical analysis, you can go ahead and check out the first link in the description. Join my free trading community where I will share more knowledge and education. It's 100% free. You don't have to pay a single euro in order to join, and you can learn some of the relevant trading basics for free in there. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, make a lot of money on the next major bull run, and just remember to keep your long-term vision.